The night was quiet until Mary suddenly woke up with a cold, wet feeling under her. Her heart began to race. Not again. She slowly sat up, touched the bed, and tears filled her eyes. At 30 years old, Mary still wet the bed every night. She lived with her mother, Grace, in a small village where everyone knew each other's business. Their house was at the edge of the village, small but clean. Grace had always done her best to give her daughter a good life, but this problem had followed Mary since she was a child. Mary tried to hide it, but her mother always knew. Grace, Mary, again, my child? Mary, softly, I'm sorry, Mum. I don't understand it. I didn't even dream or feel anything this time. Grace sighed. Her face showed both love and sadness. She had taken Mary to many doctors. They gave medicines and advice, but nothing changed. She had even taken her to the church for prayers and to a herbal healer in the next town. Still, Mary's nights were the same, wet and full of shame. People in the village had started to whisper, "A woman that age, and she still wets the bed. It must be something spiritual," another would say. Or maybe she's cursed. Mary heard them sometimes when she passed by the market. Her eyes would fill with tears, but she never replied. She became quiet and stayed home most days. No man came to visit anymore. And though she was still beautiful, with smooth dark skin, big kind eyes, and a gentle smile, she began to believe she would never get married. At night, when the crickets sang and the moonlight touched her face, she would whisper to herself, "Why me? What have I done wrong?" Grace often prayed beside her, asking God to set her daughter free. But even Grace didn't know that the answer to Mary's suffering was hidden inside her own family. Someone close, knew the real reason behind Mary's pain. And very soon, that secret would begin to show its face. The night was quiet, and the moon shone bright above the small village. Inside their little home, Mary sat by the fire, her face tired but thoughtful. She had not spoken much since the last time it happened. Her mother, Grace, was also quiet. She stirred the soup in the pot slowly, her eyes lost in worry. The sound of crickets filled the air. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. Grace, who could that be at this hour? Mary, maybe Aunt Rebecca, Mum. Grace opened the door, and there she was, Aunt Rebecca, standing with her usual smile and a small food basket in her hands. She looked neat and confident as always, her bright wrapper shining in the firelight. "Rebecca, sister, I came to check on you. I heard Mary is still not well." Grace, sighing, "Yes, Rebecca. It's the same story. We've done everything." Rebecca sat down near the fire and watched Mary quietly. There was something in her eyes, something cold, though her lips smiled. "Rebecca, maybe you should just accept it. Not every problem has a cure." "Grace, how can I accept that my only daughter will suffer like this forever?" Rebecca shrugs lightly. "Some people are just born with misfortune. You never know what the spirits decide." Her words cut through Grace like a knife. She looked at her sister with confusion and hurt. "Grace, what do you mean by that?" Rebecca, smiling faintly, "Nothing, sister. Just talking." She stood up, wiped her hands, and left quietly. But as she walked away, her eyes glowed with something dark, something she didn't want anyone to see. That night, Mary couldn't sleep. She turned and turned, her heart heavy. Around midnight, she dreamt again. This time, it was different. She saw herself standing in a dark river. The water reached her knees, cold and heavy. Mist rose around her. She tried to move, but her legs wouldn't obey. Then, a voice, soft but frightening, echoed from behind her. "You will never rest, Mary, not until your mother pays her debt." She turned quickly but saw no one. The voice grew louder, and suddenly a pair of pale hands reached out of the water, pulling her down. She screamed and woke up in terror. Her whole body shook, sweat dripping from her face. Grace rushed in, holding a lantern. "Grace, Mary, what's wrong?" Mary, crying, "Mum, I saw her. I heard a woman's voice. She said you owe her something." Grace froze. She held Mary close, but her own hands trembled. The next morning, Grace went to visit an old prophetess who lived at the edge of the forest. People said the woman could see what others could not. The prophetess sat outside her small hut, grinding herbs when Grace arrived. Prophetess, you've come because of your daughter. Grace, nodding quickly, yes, Mama. She's been suffering since birth. Please, help me. I've tried everything. The old woman closed her eyes and took a deep breath. The wind blew softly around them, and then she spoke slowly. Prophetess, your child's problem did not come from sickness. It came from within your own bloodline. Grace's eyes widened. My bloodline? Prophetess, yes. Someone close to you has planted this pain. The spirit of jealousy hides near you, even when it smiles. Grace's knees felt weak. She knew who the woman was talking about, but she didn't want to believe it. Grace, no, not my sister. She has always been there for us. Prophetess, go to the big tree near the stream, the one that saw your daughter's first night. Ask your sister what she buried there. Grace left with her heart beating fast. That night, she sat awake by the window, watching the moonlight fall across her yard. Tears filled her eyes. Grace, whispering Rebecca, what have you done?